What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite penguin, the Penguinator, and today I am showing you, or telling you, excuse me, the pros and cons that I have with World War II Nazi zombies. It's not a very extensive list, but it is a pretty small list of reasons why, with the cons especially, I feel that the hype for this game has drowned out, apart from other games that have come out, or people are just having way more fun playing, such as the multiplayer part of this game, and of course Fortnite Battle Royale, and Battlefront 2 has also come out, and some other big games like Assassin's Creed Origins. Let's go ahead, hop into it, and I'll tell you my pros and cons for World War II Nazi zombies. Alright guys, so as I said, this is going to be my kind of pros and cons that I had with World War II zombies, and that includes their release and everything else. So first, let's talk about the release. Now the release, the reason that was a con or wrong is because of how it was released. And what it is instead of granting bigger YouTubers just early gameplay access to the game, such as inviting them out to the studio and everything else, what they did is instead ship them very early copies of the full game itself. And I mean early as in 5 days early. So these guys were able to get the game 5 days early, play it, go through everything, try to fight through the Easter egg, which the regular Easter egg, it tells you how to do everything, so there's really no big loss there. But for like the hardcore and everything, there was no hunt, literally, because of these bigger YouTubers being allowed to have early access to an early copy of the game, and some of them even had to report that it was stolen right off their porches and from the mail, because people wanted to grab it, and as soon as they were able to, they posted them all over eBay, or they took them and they data mined them and everything else, and it just ruined the release for this game zombie wise because of that. And also, like I said, it ruined the hunt, because again, there was no actual hunt due to the fact that these guys, having 5 days previous access, were able to go through the game, either data mine it if it was on PC, and if of course they had it on PlayStation, they were able to play it early. So they were able to go through every single step, beat the Easter egg, and go on from there. While the rest of us were not able to get that early copy, so therefore we had nothing that we could play. We couldn't join in the hunt, and to me that royally, and I mean royally, ticked off the zombie community. They were very, very angry about it, and a lot of people voiced their opinions that these bigger YouTubers, instead of just getting them early gameplay for about an hour or whatever it is that they allow them to record, and then post footage from that, just to tell people about the game, get news about the game out there and so on, which is what that's for, they said, you know what, we're going to do something different this year, and we're going to actually give them an early copy 5 days in advance. Well, again, the problem with that is, if the bigger YouTubers had done what I was hoping they were going to do, where they would show gameplay, but they wouldn't show anything with the Easter egg, they wouldn't show that they had gone through the Easter egg, or tried to find the Easter egg, whatever, then I wouldn't have cared. It would have kept it, fair. Or if Sledgehammer would have put a program key in, to where, yes, you have the game, but until we release this update, the Easter egg is locked. Meaning that you can play zombies all you want to, but you can't do any Easter egg steps whatsoever, except at most power and Pack-a-Punch. That's it. That I would have preferred. Then it would have been fair, because on the actual release date of Friday, where the general public got their hands on the game, then they would have released the update, which would unlock the Easter egg steps, allowing everybody to be able to do it at one time, and the hunt could have continued or started fairly. So to me, that's just my pet peeve with how they released this. Now my other pet peeve, again, is it is a round-based game. Now, what I mean by round-based is very, very simple, and that is this. In that almost majority of your steps require you to go a round ahead of time. And what I mean by a round ahead is basically this. In order to do Tesla upgrades, you have to go another round. Because after you do the battery step, which is you grab the battery, you place it in these little containers, and then you have to kill 4 special types of zombies, or at least get 4 kills with one of them, and you go from there. But after you do the battery step, one, that progresses your round because you killed off the last zombies, so that's a round progressor. The other thing that does this is once you've charged your battery, which again, like I said, that progresses your round. After you charge a battery that goes in here, you progress a round. Then you have to take it to one of these blocks right here. You place it in there. What the? Oh. So you place it in there, and then you do a defense step, which means you have to defend it from the zombies. And each time you do a defense step, guess what? It progresses the round. So 4 batteries means you will progress at least at max, depending on what rounds you're on. Like if you're able to get one started low round, you will start probably very easily go 2 rounds per battery for defense. If you cannot start them until later rounds, like after round 15 or so, very unlikely that you will have to worry about going more than 1 round per defense step. But again, you cannot do multiple defensive steps a round. You have to do only 1 a round, which sucks, which makes it a round-based step. And again, as I've said before, I hate round-based Easter egg steps because it just totally takes away from the replayability for a lot of players, especially a solo player. It's just at the point where a lot of the Easter eggs seem that they're getting their stuff for multiplayers and not solo players. So to me, that is one of the things that kind of just ruins the replayability to me, or at least for me, is having to go multiple rounds, especially on solo, for the hardcore Easter egg. Now, the other thing that I should mention again is with the Tesla guns also, my other pet peeve is the having to do on solo, if you're wanting to do the hardcore Easter egg, you have to do all 4 Tesla guns by yourself. And that can be a royal pain. As you see, I'm getting ready to try and get a battery out for one of the upgrades. And trying to do it solo can really cause issues. So, but as I said, here I've got the battery, and all I got to do is take it over here and get 2 of those guys. Actually, I have to kill 4 of them by that battery, and then I can move on with that upgrade. So I'm not going to kill him, I want to save him. But again, in order to do the hardcore, I have to do all 4 Tesla gun upgrades solo, which takes up a lot of time and a lot of rounds. The fastest I've completed this is round 32 solo hardcore Easter egg. And it was a struggle, I'm not going to lie. It really was a struggle to complete the hardcore Easter egg on solo for the reasons I've already stated. And anytime you have a round-based solo Easter egg, doesn't matter if it's casual or hardcore, it royally ticks me off, because I hate round-based Easter eggs, because I'm one that likes to do Easter eggs as soon as possible, very early rounds, and get them out of the way. And then if I want to do round survival, I can sit there and I can enjoy going through round after round after round and so on. But again, yeah, I just am not a fan of round-based Easter eggs, and I think that kind of ruined the replayability for other players as well, because they do not like round-based at all. Now, another one that in my opinion, kind of ruined this game for a lot of people when it comes to zombies is not just the round-based Easter eggs, but as of right now that we know of, there is no double pack-a-punch. And again, that is something we've gotten used to, and for higher rounds, especially a round-based Easter egg like this is, it would really behoove them to give us a double pack-a-punch so that we can survive a lot longer to do the hardcore if they're not going to change the function of the hardcore Easter egg steps so that we can actually go through and survive the hardcore Easter egg steps easier. And again, just a double pack-a-punch would make that so much easier on everybody. So I think they should add it if they haven't yet, and they definitely need to. So again, I still think that it's probably in here somewhere, but if it is, they haven't released how to do it. They haven't even said if we're close to being able to figure out how to do it, and there's just a lot that really they need to do to help us out by allowing us to have that hardcore Easter egg steps doable with double pack-a-punch. But me personally, what they need to do is they need to remove the 4 Tesla gun upgrade requirements to do the Easter egg step, or to do the hardcore. So instead of having to do 4 for a solo player, you only have to do 2 upgrades. And to me, that's fair because it still moves the rounds, and it's still hard on some players to do. But again, if you want to keep that difficulty level, what I would say is, out of the 2 Easter eggs, or not Easter eggs, excuse me, not Easter eggs, but out of the 2 Tesla guns, if you want to make it still a difficult Tesla gun thing to do, pick this one for one of them, right here. Because this one, the only way you can charge that is with 4 bomber zombies, or 2 bomber zombies at a time. But I choose to do 4 at one time because it just makes it so much easier to be able to complete it. So that is one way of doing it. And just like the 2, that one and the pest battery, I would say those are the 2 you need to do on solo to keep the difficulty level up, but at the same token allowing the player to be able to complete it solo, like people who do it with 4 player or between 2 and 4 players. Because with 4 players, literally you can beat this hardcore Easter egg solo by round 16, or if not sooner. So for a solo player like myself, I mainly play solo most of the time, and to do the hardcore Easter egg by round 16, or to do the casual by round 12 and defeat the boss, or the Panzermörder, which in German stands for really big freaking zombie, is basically just out of the question. There's no way with only a solo player you can do this by round 16. So to me, they need to change those steps, make it to only at most 2 Tesla gun upgrades for a solo player. And again, if you want to keep the difficulty level, fine. Make it the 2 hardest batteries to charge up, which one is the bomber and the other is the pest battery. That, in my opinion, is how you'll be able to keep the difficulty level up for solo players on the hardcore Easter egg step. Now, oh crap, I need more. The other thing I would say to do is I would remove the jump scares, because I don't like the jump scares. One, they're not scary, and number 2, all they are is actually very, very annoying, because you can be running from a horde of zombies or whatever and run through a pathway, and then one jumps down in front of you, blocks your path, and you are now instantly killed because you had no escape, and you could have been having a perfect game, and so on, until that moment. Didn't mean to do that either, but it works. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, to me, I think they need to just go ahead, take the jump scare zombies out, because they really don't scare anybody. They just annoy them trying to do the Easter egg steps and survive. Now, those are my things I do not like about this zombies. The things I do like is how that they have revamped the tough enough. Now, what I mean by that is simply this. Instead of having to take up a perk slot with a Juggernog or Tough Enough perk, instead you have these things called Gerschild or Armors. And you can purchase them several times throughout the game up to, and of course every time you purchase them they increase by 500 points for each one that you have to purchase to replace your armor. And it can go for solo, the highest it's gotten is 10,000. However, for multiplayers, I've heard them say it gets as high as 20,000. So, but the upside to that is it does not take up a perk slot. You are able to get multiple perks without having to worry about getting a perk slot filled for health or tough enough, as I said. Which, with one of the resources you have, it allows you to carry an extra perk. So literally, you have 6 perks, because the extra perk gives, or carrying an extra perk allows you to carry 5 perks, not including your armor as a perk, which if you did, your armor would be perk number 6. So that is a quick way of being able to carry 6 perks in this game and not have to worry about it. So I like how they did that. The other thing I like about this is that it is a truly horror-based version of zombies. They went for the scare factor instead of the typical, okay, just survive rounds, da-da-da-da-da, and, you know, you're done with Easter egg. So I do like the horror factor, the way they made it kind of spooky-ish, the way it's been done. That I thought they did very, very, very well with that. But again, the cons, as I mentioned earlier, are some of the reasons why I think it also, the hype for this died off, and people have stopped playing it and have just started playing other games, such as Battlefront 2, which came out also. And see, there's one of your jump scare zombies right there. And of course, Fortnite Battle Royale has kind of become this big thing as well. So people want to play Fortnite versus want to play World War II zombies. That kind of shows you the replayability is almost gone for this Easter egg in that regard. So again, it's not that it's a bad game, it's just certain things that they have done that have allowed it to kind of just like, people just like, we don't care anymore. So I think those cons have really ruined the possibility for this game. One more con, because I just thought about it, is the flame guy. Having him spawn in every 4 rounds sucks. You don't need him to spawn in that much. Every 5 to 10 rounds, every 10 rounds is fine. That's all you need. But having him spawn in every 4 rounds just makes it so much harder, again, for a solo player trying to do the hardcore Easter egg, because of him being able to do that. Oh, crap. So with him being able to spawn in like that, it just makes it a lot harder on solo players. Every round, I think starting at round 14, every 4 or 5 rounds he'll spawn in, which again does make it harder on solo players to complete the hardcore Easter egg if that's what they're after. So I think they just need to make it to where he only, after round 14, he only spawns in every 10 rounds. Because having him spawn in every 4 rounds, like I said, is just a royal pain in the buttocks. So I think that's something else that they need to change and do away with. Again, these are just my opinions, but The other thing that they can do to make this Easter egg a lot easier, especially for a solo player, is they need to allow us to have a double Pack-a-Punch. Because right now we do not have double Pack-a-Punch, at least to our knowledge. If it's in here, we just haven't found it. So, to me, that's the other thing they need to do, is bring in the double Pack-a-Punch and allow us to have that in the game. If it is not in the game already, go ahead, do what you need to add it to the game so that we can have it. Because to me, it is something that is necessary, especially for the hardcore Easter egg with solo players. Now, when it comes to guns in the game, the guns that I would highly suggest you get is, of course, one, the Colt 45s as your starter pistol. Pack-a-punch them, because when you do, they shoot the little grenades, and I'm about to get hit. Told you. And they are definitely needed for the hardcore Easter egg step when it comes to the defense steps, like what I'm doing now, which is not really a defense step as it is just trying to survive and get zombie kills within that little red circle. So, and that can be an issue, especially if you have those big guys, because they're going to be chasing you all over the place. But again, it really does help out. Whoops. So, and I'm getting ready to show you like the easy way of getting your armor back. So, all you have to do is run up these machines, you get your armor, boom, I'm full armor again. Remind me not to do that when there's two of those guys down there and in close quarters. But again, that's something I think that they need to do to fix this, is put double Pack-a-Punch in. And if Sledgehammer is watching this, or they come across it, or somebody brings it to their attention, say, hey, we want double Pack-a-Punch. Put it in the game if you don't have it in there. It would really help us out, especially on the hardcore Easter egg steps. I mean, it would just really help us out with those. So, and the other thing is that I didn't like is I prestiged in zombies for the first time ever doing zombies, because it said, oh, you would keep your progress, you would keep your weapons, da-da-da-da, as you had them, yada yada yada. Come to find out, wrong. Everything in my weapons was put back to 0, and I'm having to go through and get them upgraded yet again, which means I will not prestige for the Master Prestige level probably when I get these up to where they need to be, or when I even get to the next Prestige level, because to me, I just don't like that. So, oh, something else. Another con. I keep thinking of them. But another con to this right now is the glitch that you cannot get some of your special characters if you have done all the steps for them. So to me, that's another con. Because if you've done all the steps for the characters, you should be able to get the characters, but people are finding out that they can't. So, again, in my opinion, that's one way in which it's kind of, you know, been caused, which has caused the hype for this zombies to die out, and people are just not playing it as much because they would rather play Fortnite, they would rather play zombie maps that have double Pack-a-Punch and so on in them, and are not round-based Easter eggs. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if there's any pros or any cons to this game that you like or you don't like, please let me know in the comment section down below. and let me know what you think of the game, if you like it, if you don't like it. I personally know a lot of people that they just switched from the zombie side of it, and all they're doing now is playing the multiplayer because they just got fed up with the Easter egg steps and the hardcore Easter egg for this zombies mode. So, like I said, guys, let me know in the comments below what you liked or didn't like about this version of zombies. And until next time, this has been your favorite penguin, the Penguinator, signing off. Happy gaming, Merry Christmas, and later.